We finally know how much bigger your Social Security check will be in January, but there's something important they're not telling you, and it could directly affect how much you actually receive. Normally, the announcement for this year's cost of living adjustment, or COLA, comes out earlier in the fall, but because of the recent government shutdown, it was pushed back. And now that the numbers are finally out, it's clear that most mainstream outlets are only showing the headline, not the real story behind what this increase actually means for you.
Starting in January, if you receive Social Security benefits or supplemental security income payments, you're going to see a 2.8% increase in your monthly benefits.
At first glance, this sounds like good news. Starting in January, Social Security recipients will get about $56 more per month on average. This year's COLA is slightly higher than last year's, and many news outlets are even calling it a, quote, fair increase. But that's not the full story. And if you look a little deeper, it starts to fall apart. While the COLA is 2.8%, Medicare premiums are projected to rise anywhere from 4 to 12% next year.
A range of surveys show health insurance plans that people get through their work will go up around 9% on average. And research from KFF shows plans that individuals buy through healthcare.gov will go up around 20%.
Well, my new quoted rate for the exact same plan, bronze plan, which is supposed to be the basic plan, is $1,155 per month. So it's more than doubled. It's, I reckon.
Yeah, that's almost triple.
Yeah, 160%.
It's really unfair that I have to choose either having health care or a roof over my head. I got a letter today from Blue Shield Blue Cross, and my monthly premiums went up to $2,627 a month, 17 cents. If I choose health insurance, I lose my house. If I choose my house, I lose my health insurance.
So right away, the extra money people are celebrating, it's already gone, swallowed up by healthcare costs before it even hits their accounts. And here's where it gets worse. Even though overall poverty rates in the US have stayed steady or dropped for most age groups, poverty among seniors aged 65 and older has climbed to 15% as of 2024. That means around 9 million Americans who spent their entire lives working and paying taxes are now living in poverty in a country that has over 24 million millionaires. Think about that for a second. How does that even make sense? It suddenly makes sense why we see stories every day of older Americans skipping meals, rationing medication, or being forced back into the workplace just to survive.
74-year-old Lorna Hall made sure to be the first at this line in Clinton, Missouri.
You've been here since last night.
Yeah. If I can make one video go viral, I hope it's this one, because our server at Eaton Park is probably in her 70s. I'm here with my son, and she can hardly walk. And we heard her tell the table next to us, because they asked why she was still working, that she only makes $910 a month on Social Security, and she has to still work because her bills exceed $910 a month. Any proceeds I get from this video and the TikTok Creator Rewards program, I will come back and give to her. I have $40 in my purse, so that's what I'm going to leave her for a tip.
And while this is happening, politicians on both sides keep throwing money everywhere else. The Democrats just want to give thousands of dollars to anyone who crosses the border illegally.
We saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is, working or not, file your taxes and we can get the maximum refund for your family. And the paper says that if you have one child, you can get over $7,000 in a refund. And if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000.
The Republicans, on the other hand, are sending billions overseas while the people who built this country are being left behind.
Let's take, for example, this $40 billion bailout for Argentina. That's probably one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And I have no idea who is telling our great president, our America First president, that this is a good idea.
Look, when it comes to hearing from senior citizens or my own friends and neighbors and my own family members and people that voted for me, and they're just saying, Marjorie, we just really want somebody to do something about health insurance premiums.
Meanwhile, here's the harsh truth. Older Americans making $20,000 a year or less live on average 9 years shorter than those making $120,000 or more. So this isn't just about a cost of living increase, it's about life and death. Because when you look past the headlines, a 2.8% raise isn't even enough for survival for a lot of people. Now, next up, I want to talk about the president who has just posted about weather modification. And I'm going to break all of it down in today's video, starting with what President Trump just posted on Truth Social.
Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. As a result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming? We've endeavored to answer all of your questions at the links on your screen. In fact, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities.
And here's where things get interesting. The video he shared isn't new. It's an old EPA announcement, something that was released months ago, and I even covered it at the time. So the real question is, why repost it now? Why bring attention to it right when a major hurricane is heading straight towards the US? And now they're saying Hurricane Melissa is expected to reach Category 4.
This morning, Jamaica bracing for the looming threat of Hurricane Melissa, which has already claimed 3 lives in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. Heavy rains and landslides sweeping the region.
The forecast claims the chances of a direct hit on Florida are low, but even they admit that a Category 5 hurricane can pummel southern Florida in the next few days. And here's what makes that very hard to ignore. This is happening barely 1 year after Hurricane Milton slammed into Florida and left the state in ruins. We all remember how Milton blindsided those so-called experts. In less than 24 hours, it went from a mild storm to a Category 5 monster that nobody saw coming. So when they tell us don't worry this time, you can't help but wonder, how much do they really know? And that's why a lot of people believe the president isn't just posting randomly. He might actually be trying to warn us about what's coming. Some even think he's getting ready to finally tell us the truth about what's really been happening in our skies, these so-called chemtrails. But the thing is, I don't think this is a mystery anymore, because our own health secretary has already admitted that DARPA's been experimenting with aerosols and atmospheric testing.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
In other words, they're putting things in the air and we're breathing it in. And just before those devastating floods hit Texas and ripped through parts of the South, several private companies were conducting large-scale cloud seeding operations right in those same regions.
You guys go to Google and punch in NOAA Texas weather seeding. When that page comes up, scroll down to NOAA Library, click on that, and then scroll to the very bottom, and you can punch in any date you want for any location, any state where they're weather seeding. And if you punch in Central Texas, it'll show you that they've been weather seeding in that area that they just had the massive floods at Camp Mystic. They've been doing it since March, and it goes all the way through November something. So they're going to be weather seeding that area, 10,000 square mile area, 10 different counties until like mid-November. So is somebody going to be held accountable for this? And are they going to continue to weather seed after we just had a massive catastrophe? I mean, 20 inches of rain is what I heard fell. But the river rose 26 feet, and there are like over 100 people passed away and gone, and they're still looking for kids under 1 year old. Who's going to be held accountable for this? Go to NOAA, the NOAA page, NOAA Weather Seeding Texas, and scroll to the NOAA library, and you can punch in any town you want, and you can find out if they're weather seeding where you're at. This is crazy.
Now remember, Florida is the only state that's banned cloud seeding altogether. As for the rest of the country, you can be damn sure they're still putting all kinds of things in our skies.
Thanks to a massive infusion of cash and some new technologies, the state now operates the world's largest remote-controlled cloud seeding program. The group that oversees Utah's water resources got some good news when it comes to cloud seeding. That's pumping silver iodide into the atmosphere to squeeze a little more precipitation out of a storm.
Now, we also know that these companies are run by the same young tech CEOs getting money from the same powerful people like Peter Thiel, who reportedly funded Augustus Dorico's startup personally.
Is that, well, it has to do with the safety of cloud seeding, right? Because this has to do with environmental health, particularly pollution. Cloud seeding is conventionally done with a chemical called silver iodide. Its LD50, so its lethal dose, is 10 times higher than aspirin. And we're using about 50 grams per each operation. That's as much as can fit in the palm of your hand, right? That's less flour than is in a slice of bread. So the amount that accumulates into watersheds is in the parts per trillion after decades of operation, and we have data to prove that from programs that exist throughout the United States.
Allegedly, after leaving Berkeley, Augustus Dorico received $100,000 from former Thiel Foundation executive Michael Gibson. And then, months later, he received another $100,000 from Peter Thiel himself.
Are you playing God? Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing with when it comes to the weather?
My intention is to serve God. I think that in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the Bible, God tells us to take dominion over and steward creation, both for our sake, creation's itself, and then to honor him. And if we weren't to do that, if we were to ban cloud seeding wholesale, despite knowing that it's safe, despite knowing it could help alleviate these problems, we'd be abdicating our God-given responsibility to be stewards of the world.
And now, Thiel's companies are locked into multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Pentagon. So, when people who are so deep inside the system start controlling our weather, do you really think the EPA can ever expose them? I mean, we still don't even know how a typhoon managed to slam into those coastal towns in Alaska. It caught everyone completely off guard. There were no warnings, no alerts, nothing. People only realized what was happening when their homes started floating away down the street.
But then there was another house before that one. It was behind our neighbor. That house is gone, so I don't even know where it's at. There was more houses over there. Those houses are completely gone. Don't know where they're at. Yeah, thank you for the prayers.
Damn, Bernie John's old house is really.
This isn't Kipnik, Alaska. This isn't Kipnik.
And the strangest part? Even now, no one's offering a clear explanation for how something like that could have happened in the first place. And that's why people in Florida have to stay on their guard for the next week or so.